Cool. So as has been promised, today I will talk about the actual full resource grammar library. But before that, there is some housekeeping updates. So there is going to be the talk. So the talk on Monday, 2nd August. Okay, sorry. So the Classrooms talk on Monday, 2nd August will have a half an hour earlier start time. So it was originally at 4 p.m. and now it's 3:30. Okay. Hello. Just going through updates here. So earlier start time, half an hour earlier start time for Classrooms talk on Monday. And then we have a full extra talk on Thursday, 5th August. So on the second week, like all the other talks, the program will start at 10 a.m. Singapore time, but we have gotten a chance to get an extra talk on the second week. So this is the slot where we put it. And instead of me trying to say this, I recommend, if you haven't done it already, to subscribe to the GF Summer School calendar. If you go to the webpage, there is a link. You can click this plus. And I will also send an email to everyone about this. So there's that. Okay, so today, sorry. As I said, I'm going to now talk about the resource grammar library. So let me share my full desktop now. So this is like the killer app of GF. You can access the RGL if you go to the GF webpage, and then here, RGL synopsis. And this is the documentation that will tell you, it will show you how to use it. I'm soon going to apply it to an actual grammar. So like if you want to learn more, like just open this page and you can look at these things. But now I'm going to, let's do something concrete. So yesterday, like the last 15 minutes, we started doing this grammar, which was this construction pigeon. So let me just recap what we did. I'm moving these to day 4, so now we're going to build on that more, but I'm going to leave it in the state it was yesterday in day 3. So and we did GT, one. And we had this. This was the structures that we did yesterday. We had some questions and declarative sentences in both in present and perfective. And then what we started doing, we wanted to make an English, like standard English translation of it. And that we want to use, instead of writing it by hand like we did here, like here we just see that we're concatenating things in records. We want to instead use the resource grammar library. So now this is what we're starting with now. Okay. And any comments, questions, ask Discord, Zoom, anything. Yeah. Okay, so that's well, I got started with filling the categories. So maybe the question is, okay, how did I know what categories to use? And the answer is because I know the RGL. But for those who don't know the RGL, we have this could be useful to try to visualize it. Here's a graph of the things in top-down order. And when I'm, let's put these side by side. So like, first of all, I have made my own semantic decisions already when I wrote the abstract syntax of this grammar. That in this. So I wanted to, for instance, I wanted to cover 3 types of things: questions, commands, and declarative sentences. And then those are built out of some actions and actors. And those, so this is more of a semantic distinction. Like I want to not allow food buys you, but I want to say you buy food. So that's one reason why I decided here to split, not just to have in this application grammar, my categories are not noun phrase, verb phrase, transitive verb, intransitive verb. They are rather actor, action, and object. And then I had 2 ways of making actions, which is either just, well, this actually corresponds to intransitive verb, and then this is something that takes an object, so this sort of corresponds to transitive verb. And then, so now the challenge is to relate these application grammar categories to the RGL categories. But we can always, you can always get started, and then you realize that, oh, actually you needed more distinctions. So then you would go for something lower in the tree. So like what does it mean? Like this tree here, like the higher something is in a tree, the more fixed it is. So okay, so for instance, like this is like, so these words probably, like if you've probably seen some of these words before if you're anything into linguistics. So like we have clause, we have sentence, we have utterance, we have phrase. And so those have varying definitions in different linguistic traditions. So here's the first step, like what we need to learn what they mean in GF. So we can get some hints from what other categories are there on the same level. So this is tense, polarity. So they are on the same level as CL, clause, and they are like, sentence is something that uses all 3 of them. So we have clause, polarity, tense. I'll explain later what anteriority is. Like, just let's do just tense, polarity, clause now. And they together combine into a sentence. So what does that mean? So it means that clause is open for a bunch of things. If you saw Arna's presentation on the first day, I can actually demonstrate this by just showing it live. I open GF, then I import. I have the resource ground library installed. Oh yeah, by the way, this have you all managed to install the resource ground library? Like, just we can look at it maybe during the break or something if you need help with the installation. So now I have installed the resource ground library, and I have this environment variable gf path set, so I can just do this in the shell. All tenses /lang-eng.gfo. GFO is the compiled version. So then what I can do, I can parse something as a clause. The cat sleeps, and then I can do linearize all, and then wait, let me even like bind. So now I see that this is the ways that a clause is still open, because I parse this, but I get all of these options. But if I parse the same thing as a sentence, that has all this tense and polarity stuff fixed. So this is like one hint that you can, as a general, if you're like wondering which category to choose, that's like one of the criteria. Like if you know that you need to, like you want to construct something where you know the subject and the object. So like here, CL is something that you build out of an NP and VP, but you still you haven't decided if you want to say that the cat sleeps, or maybe won't the cat have slept? Because maybe you want to make it into a question later on. Like you can make it a question, or you can make it into any a declarative sentence, or any other negative priority, conditional mood, that kind of stuff. So if you don't want to modify it, it's good to choose CL. Okay, so I'm gonna continue filling this in, and let's see what we So yeah, actually, I'm kind of, now that after I've said this, I kind of realized that this was a wrong decision. I put S, but actually we do want to put CL, because that's exactly what I said, that declarative might become a question. Because first, if I first make a sentence like you come, and then I want to potentially make that into a question. So are you coming? So I'm gonna change this here. So let's start by just building these clauses now in the resource grammar. And yeah, for these actors and actions and objects, this is hopefully quite straightforward, because in the resource grammar library sense, like it doesn't make a difference if it's you, I, or food, because they are all just noun phrases. Again, you can see here that the noun phrase can come from a pronoun. So this is where we get like I, you. And then it can also come from a common noun, which can come from these lexical categories. So this would be where food comes from. And they are all in the same category here as a noun phrase. So it's not syntactic, or it's not a grammatical difference. It's just a semantic difference, which I want to make in my application grammar. That's why they are both MP and MP. Okay. Let's do. I'm just gonna add them one by one. So we have the linkets, which we might want to revise at some point. You know, we don't know if this is actually the best thing, but yeah, let's continue. Lin. Let's start from the lexicon. So we had these things. Split right. Yes, now I see both. We have I, you, come, buy, and food. So I. Now we need to look at the synopsis. We have already decided it's an NP, so now we open this view here to the right. We scroll down, we look at NP, click on that, and we see, well, okay, so first of all, we see this, so we don't need to look further, but later on we are also going to look further where we see a bunch of constructors. Okay, so this is like, we have some things are very common, so they are ready-made. This is a common use case that in an application grammar, you want to have personal pronouns as noun phrases. So they are there. I'm just gonna say this. I might as well say like syntax eng.inp if I want to be very explicit. So let's compile eng. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna call it eng. It doesn't really matter huge, like it's like, you know, you can give it any suffix, but I kind of want to be consistent here because I'm using the resource grammar library, so it's kind of these modules end with the prefix eng. So I'm gonna just change the name of the file. The file, as this error message says, module name differs from file name. Construction eng. It's deleted, so I'm gonna open. Yeah, and this works fine. And now we can do.
Well, just to understand the general context, so the resource library is a general library that is applicable for every natural language that we have formalized. So for English, for German, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. The resource grammar library. Yes. Yeah, it is.
But there's sort of what we call that class noun phrase, and that is instantiated for each individual language. Or
yeah, so the resource grammar library, it's a GF it's a GF grammar just like anything else. It has its own abstract syntax, and it has in the abstract syntax there is a category called NP, and then for each concrete language, like here's a list of them, there is a different linearization for that. Link at.
But nevertheless, so even if I take Hindi, there's well, I can use an I and B.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we can do. Yeah, the question was that, like, so we can actually let's build this multilingual from scratch. So I'm gonna copy the construction eng into, let's take a language that yeah, let's take any suggestions. I want to be able to verify it myself, but like I think I can recognize the word for I in Chinese. I've seen it on Duolingo, so now we can open. I know, because we don't, Malay is not yet.
Because we can then really write it.
Oh yeah, but like the thing is that the Malay resource grammar is not yet. It doesn't have it. It's not in the API. So like actually, I mean, there is quite a lot of fragments of that is done already, but it's not in the API. So that's the issue. So yeah, I'm just gonna change the eng to. So I don't even I don't need to prefix it with syntax eng, like this works perfectly. So if I do now GF construction eng construction try, and then I do li, I get wo, or however which I don't remember which tone it is, and then I get I. We can do so since our lexicon was like this lexicon, this is like this structural words, like a closed class of words. I can do the same with like, I can say, yeah, so here now that, oh, okay, this is actually, now it's telling me I typoed it or I made it wrong. So let's see, how is it? Ah, okay, we have actually, we have this very like unmarked thing. We have it you and you plural instead of you singular and you plural.
I'm just asking because in a sense you suppose that, well, there are the same kinds of personal pronouns in every language, but I mean, some languages may have quite different personal pronouns that depend on politeness or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we have them in, this is a good question. So the question was about what do we do if we have different personal pronouns? So this is the core, the core RGL has like one set of pronouns. So let's do polite. We could actually, we can even call it, we can make this German right now, even though the name is Chinese, but we open German.
I think the Chinese also have plural noun for.
So, okay, so polite for.
The plural.
Okay.
So like, so now I changed, this used to be you. Okay, actually, let me change the abstract syntax. That's, maybe that's a good point. USG, you plural, you polite. And in the English, I'm just going to say USG, you PL, you pol is just, there is one UMP. And then for German, which is now masquerading as Chinese, because I mean, so this module name and what we open don't need to have anything to do with each other. Using paradigms yet, so USG is the unmarked UMP. Then we have the U plural and U. Right. This again, and now we can do actually GT cat L tree bank, and we get these. So we have ich, du, sie, ihr, and these are all different. So the core resource grammar library provides this, and then so I mean, why this is the core? This is just kind of, the core has been fixed since like 2006 or something, and of course since then we have also other modules where we have even more distinctions, like, oh, maybe we need gender distinction in third person pronoun. I mean, okay, we do have he and she here, but like a lot of languages add gender distinctions to other pronouns. So we have a module called extend, which I'm not going to talk about yet because this is, no, but the core does some of these things, and then there's extend, which is a later topic. Okay, let's make it German instead of Chinese, so I can read it too. I'll change the name officially. Let's call it construction. Yep. Yep. Change the name. Okay, so we made the lexicon of actors. Let's make objects as well. I know we called it, we called it object. So the only thing we have here so far is food. Okay, now we're going to need either the paradigms module or the lexicon module. I'm going to open lexicon eng. And let's see if we have the word food there. So okay, first of all, let's introduce an error by like Okay, so actually this is now telling that there is no word food in lexicon. So I'm gonna, this is still wrong, but I'm just like gonna show you error messages. And now I'm using MKN from paradigms. So we have the two main modules are syntax and paradigms. Here it says morphology, but like all of these languages come, the file is called paradigms language code. So now if we click on English, here we can see the source. Sorry. And here we have the functions, their type signatures and explanation. So we have MKN, which takes one argument, and this is for predictable morphology. So it includes, like, it knows how to do, it can say buses, flies. So it's not as simple as just concatenating a single S after every word. Like that was what we did yesterday. It was like obviously wrong, but like we just ignored it yesterday. So this MKN with single argument also includes some actual morphology, like it knows how to deal with regularities that are predictable. And then for those that are truly irregular, like man, men, child, children, there you have to give two arguments. So this is how we would use it, but now of course this is still wrong because this is telling us that the linkat of food is supposed to be NP, and we can't make an NP with MKN. So we need to wrap this in NP, MKN, food. And now it's happy. So let's just check GF. Food, and we get the word food. So that was the lexicon for actors and objects. So let's take the actions now. We had come, which is, this is going to be an intransitive verb, but like we're linearizing the category action for a verb phrase. That's usually a really good decision. Like I'll explain. So whenever we use these phrasal categories, it's more like it's easier to make the concrete sense that we can use the same code for all of them. And later on I will show you actually how to not make this so copy pasted. We can just have one file that has like all this action and then just some smaller files that tell you that, oh, by the way, use German for this. Okay, that's ahead of program. So now we need to find some actual verb. Again, I'm just gonna test if CumV is in the lexicon. So yeah, I'm getting this error. So if I had tried to do something that is not in the lexicon, then I would have just gotten this, and it would say that constant not found CumV. So I know that I know I have imported CumV from lexicon. And now we're just going to make it actually fit. So if we go to VP here, oh, the first function we find is actually what we need. So I'm just going to wrap it in MK VP CumV. Let's test L.com. Oh yeah, it's because this, right? So that sometimes if you try to linearize a single word and then you don't you don't get any result. Like that's because it has, so the GF shell is kind of expecting things to have a field called S, but actually what the BP has probably several fields and they are not called S, so then the GF shell is a bit confused. It's like, that's why. But you can always do, when you're developing in the shell, you can use the flag all. If you're wondering what the bind is, it's because without bind, we're having these like magical tokens, which means that don't put the space between words. This will also be explained later. So we have we've concluded that, okay, now we've made something. Question? Yeah.
Action at the top, the link tab, yeah, B instead of BP, because when we do the linearization, we're doing MKV instead of MKVP.
Yeah. Yeah, the question was that why is this a VP instead of V? And that's because we want to actually, we don't want to only linearize this, we want to also linearize this function called by, which by had the type signature. So it's a function that takes an object and makes it into action. So we want to have multiple constructors per category, like here we have com and by, and they take different number of arguments. So that's one reason. Like that's already a valid reason in a monolingual setting. But then VP is more general also for other reasons, because if we let's say like some action is just a single verb in one language. So we have a grammar for doctor-patient interaction, and the doctor, you have a word like undress, that's just a single verb. But maybe in some other language you want to linearize it as a full verb phrase, which is like remove your clothes. And if we just linearize this V, that would be very unsatisfactory, because like where does the your clothes object go then? And like often we can't just treat it as a string, because it might need different case, or it behaves differently if it's negative or positive. So VP is like syntactic categories as linkets is more robust and more generalizable. Yeah. So now I'm linearizing the I'll introduce syntax error, so then it will not complain about the whole file. So I'll linearize this now, and we remember that object is a noun phrase. So, well, let's look at, here we have the second function here, which takes a V2 and an MP to make a VP. Oh yeah, but when you hover over the example, you can see how it's implement, like what the output would be in different languages. So now we need to have, let's just, let's try this out. MKVP by V2, where this opt comes from here. And yeah, okay. So we actually do have by in the lexicon. Again, if I wanted to say like, if I want to say this, then I would get an error. That's constant not found. Yeah, and if it was not there, then we would do like, we could do this MKV2. This MKV2 comes from paradigms. So just annotate this a bit better. So syntax ng.mkvp paradigms ng.mkv2, and this is the argument that we had. Yeah. So I mean, I could do this again, but it's kind of like now this is not very readable, because like this is just an intermediate category. Like VP is not, VP is like, it's missing like, oh yeah, if we look at this graph again, VP is, it just has some, it has a verb, it might have some object, but like it's completely open for like its subject and this tense, polarity, that kind of stuff. So it's not a surprise that we don't get like very definitive output when we do this, when we linearize in the shell. Okay, so this was all for this tiny lexicon that we had. Later today, I'll show you also bigger multilingual lexicon of WordNet, but let's not go there quite yet. So this is the lexicon, and now let's do the syntactic functions. This is not like a, if you're wondering syntactic functions, lexical functions, like there is no formal difference in the GF language. It's just a convention, like it's like these are something like come, by, you, me, blah blah, and these syntactic functions are things that just they put these content words together. So now we had these two functions here from actor to action. So they take an actor and action and make it into a declarative sentence. Let's do send thread action. And now we have, oh yeah, this is actually, now when we do this, we actually notice some weaknesses in the implementation. Is, well, I mean, this was a good strategy when we designed this abstract syntax yesterday, because the language for which we designed this had it worked in a way that you put the tense before and then the question after. So you're coming already, or no. So it was a very logical thing to do when we concatenated, we just concatenated strings together. Now let's see, can we go from a sentence into a question like that? So no, we can go to, so this graph is not quite complete, so it's just to give an idea. So we can go from CL to QCL and from QCL to QS, and then we can go directly from CL to S. So now we need to, whoops, sorry. We need to, this is not a problem at all for GF. It's just like not as clear cut as it was. So we can either change our abstract syntax. Like I would suggest that we change the abstract syntax right now. We'll keep the original in the grammar before. So let's refactor this a bit. So we had these, like the tenses and stuff all lumped together. But let's make instead just one function that is called red, which takes the actor action. And yeah, for random reasons, I'm just putting lexical functions with capital letters and the syntactic with lowercase. But this is like, this is not a convention. It's just happened to be so yesterday. Actually, I think in the RGL, yeah, in the RGL we actually do it exactly vice versa. So maybe this. So let me just don't put too much significance on the casing. It's just random. So note we have. Let's think about the cases later. Like this is just roll with whatever we're doing. We're still keeping declarative as a CL. And now remember we have an actor and an action. So if we go to the CL, this is the first constructor we see. So we can, oh no, actually no, this is not quite true. This is the constructor we need. So you notice that these constructors are overloaded. So the same name you can give it many different types of arguments. So pred actor action is mkcl actor. This, and now actually we can hopefully linearize something. So let's do G2, that's for generate trees. Red question mark. So this generates all trees of this form. It looks like this. We can also we could also do generate all trees in the cat vehicle, and we get the same ones. So we have whichever. And then we can do L-tree rank. I purchase food, I come, you purchase food. These all look the same because there are so many different, all the U's are same. Actually, now if we do this for German, this is like a nice opportunity to show you how we can just copy and paste. Let's remove the annotations from here. And I'll go back to by v2 object. So there is no by v2. Okay, so I do need to use something. So let's look at how the German paradigms work. MKP and MKprep, MKV, MKV2. Okay, so I first need to construct a V, and then we have MKV, which is just a single string. So let's try like the least amount of effort needed. So I don't need to. I don't need to prefix this, so like I'll just ignore it because it's gonna be so long. MKV2, MKV. Is it Copen? Oh yeah, we haven't imported lexicon share. What? So here we got to come. So now, if we do this, we should see something a bit more interesting. So, ich komme, ihr kommt, sie kommen, du kommst. So not just the pronouns are different, but the verb is inflected in different ways. As a general rule, whenever I show something on GF RGL, if it has an error, like let us know. I would love to fix more bugs in the RGL. That's the way RGL gets better. Oh, question?
Okay, so in RGL, you kind of have to make functions that follow that two format. Like if say you have like an imperative statement that says come here. If you say come here you, that's no longer imperative, but you have to be like high up in the hierarchy and then like imperative plus pronoun or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So right, yeah, that was a very good observation that like that actually like if I wanted to make an imperative, like the imperative doesn't have this subject. So or what was that? That was what you said, or like yeah. So yeah, like I
stick things together following like
yeah. So yeah, if I want to I'm gonna, this is a bit of a spoiler, but if we want to say like come here you, or like listen to me John, so then that John would be this vocative. So we would combine the imperative which comes from just the VP. So this graph is not complete, so this is a bit like when you like get to know this, like don't rely on only the graph. It's just kind of like you get the general idea. So if you want to say like, come here, Mariam, so then the come here comes from the VP, which becomes an imperative, and then the imperative becomes an utterance, and then finally the utterance is combined with the vocative into a phrase. And then this punctuation, you can put an exclamation mark there. So come here, Mariam. So. But yeah, we do need to change our, actually, we once we get to the commands, I do need to change my approach, because this CL, there is no direct way from CL to imperative. So I will refactor once we get to that. Yeah, that's good.
So will you explain that more in detail later? Or so for constructing this imperative phrase, you first have to construct a phrase like you come here, and that is then transformed into a phrase where the personal pronoun is dropped. Okay, so let me. I'm getting more questions about the imperative. So maybe let me go. Okay, let me do the imperative now. If that's what. Okay, so but if you treat that later, yeah, I mean, I might as well do it now, because like, yeah. I mean, I could. Okay, let me do the question real quick, and then I'll refactor when I need to do things differently with the imperative. So basically, okay, we have now the declaratives. Oh yeah, and so we have these are the coercion things. So I'm going to do them. So like what the point of this coercion is just that I don't need to always do like GT cat decol. I can, when I generate the trees, then it's like it generates everything. So that's why I do the coercions. So Q to P, C to P, D to P. So no, I still have another question.
Yeah, that's so the question was, why is this under fun and this is under lin? That's because the abstract syntax has cat and fun, and this is lin, cat, and lin. This is like cat corresponds to lin, cat, fun corresponds to lin. The naming scheme would be a bit more consistent if it was lin, cat, and lin, fun, but that's the convention. That's how the language works. Like, okay, so I'm just gonna make these coercions like super quickly, because now so that I don't need to, I can generate everything. So mk fr, mk at, mk sd. This is mk at c. Yeah, if you're wondering like, oh, where do these come from? It's, I go to fr, and then I'm like, okay, so, oh, actually, oh, that's good that I looked at it. So I don't even need to do this. There's this like convenience functions already. So that's convenient. So all I need to do is just mk fr phrase, and this is also. Sorry. So if I do now, I do GT. I think I've gotten something again, maybe. I think it's the issue is that like when I don't have something implemented in the other language, then it doesn't really do it when I GT. So now, okay, this, yeah. Now if I do, yeah, now it's working. Well, I only have the English because I don't have the functions in German. But actually, this is, I'm just gonna copy them into German as well. So okay, this is where we were. Like the difference is just that we have the coercion function. And now I'll demonstrate how to make it into a question very, very easily with this design that we have. We have the function d to q. This is the call to question. Let's go and see how to make this from QS. Oh, this is a very common use case. Like that's like one of the expected ways to make a question. So I'm just gonna say MKQSD. Ah, I still do need to do this. So yeah, so now with this, I added this MKQS to this, and now we get all these variants. Let's do it without the tree bank. So these are the versions that are declaratives, and these are the questions. Any questions so far? Maybe we can actually take a bit of a break before we go into the refactoring in order to make imperatives. Okay, let's resume in 10 minutes. Hello. We still have 3 seconds. Okay, now it's time. Okay, yeah, actually, we had some interesting conversations with the in-place participants on the break, but like, yeah, okay, I'm probably just gonna say the things during the next 2 hours. So, yes, so we have the we made the questions by applying this function. But now if we want to do the command, we actually didn't make a function for it yet. So let's start by introducing it in the abstract syntax. So ad hoc homebrew application grammar. I mean, this is actually extremely common that you're developing them side by side. It's like, you know, maybe some people would rather like write code completely abstractly, like write 500 line without ever compiling, but that's not a good idea. So I try, whenever I make a grammar, I just try to make it as small as possible that it's possible to compile, and then I see, and then I iterate. It's just a good way of working. So make command out of declarative. So I don't want to change this API because, like, I think this is a pretty good design, because if we, I'm sorry, I mean that like we have a decal and then we have a question and command, because the declarative is more basic in the sense that we know subject, object, verb, but we can always, if we want to make the question, that's very straightforward. If we make it into command, then it's like a bit, okay, what can we do with the subject? Like we can, well, okay, I mean, we can technically say that, okay, it could be let us buy food. Like if the declarative was we buy food, then the command would be let us buy food. If it's you buy food, then it becomes just buy food. So I'm thinking of keeping that design where the subject actually becomes the addressee. That's maybe a bit unconventional, but let's do things this way in this application grammar. In your application, maybe that doesn't make any sense, but I'm just going to do this. So the subject of the declarative becomes the addressee of the command. Let me buy food. Buy food. May he, she, they, it buy food. That's my decision now. That's a hill I'm going to die on. Right, so imperative. How do we make it? And here's a bit of, so is this a problem? As we saw in the graph, we can only make it from a VP or things that can become a VP. Then we have, so what is this inform? Where are we using it? We're using it here. So the imperative is still open for the addressee, but the utterance it's fixed. So I actually just realized that the I was thinking of like how to construct these let us do things, but that's actually not in the imp category. It's another category in the extent part. So let's do that later. That's part 2. Okay, so now we need to, when we made this actor and action into decal, we made it into CL, and that's a problem now because when we made it to CL, we can't retrieve it anymore. So let's backtrack. Let's change the link of decal. It's no longer a CL, but we make it into discontinuous. We say it has subject, which is an MP, predicate, which is a VP. Oh, I realized we can't call it Fred now because because this is called pred. So let's see which error message we're getting. Sorry, what's the issue?
I was just wondering whether somebody was knocking.
Okay, okay, we might have someone coming in here. Okay. Yes, so I tried to give it the name pred. So yeah, I mean, I think this error is because of that. So but we can fix this by, let's call this pred with a capital P. So it's no problem. Yeah. So now we're getting, now that we made this decol into discontinuous, we also need to change the linearization of this pred that is now with capital P. So subj is actor, pred is the action. Okay, and now of course when we make the decol into a question, we can't apply MKQs anymore. So now we can call the MKCL here. So we call MKCL d.subj d.pred. And now this works. And again, we will do that here. This is the way we can't call MKPHR for the discontinuous thing. So we need to make it into a CL again. Now that we actually end up calling this like so many times, I suggest we make a helper, like we make an opera for that. We can introduce operas anywhere in the file. So like, let's just helper function to CL. This is also robust because if we want to change the link at again, then we only need to change it in one place. So and now to think of it, we can make it even more robust by, like, if you want to change the link at decol, then we just change it in this opera. So link decol type. Yesterday there were some questions about this notation, like blah, blah, blah. So this is like, I got some feedback. It's clear when it's on 2 lines, so I can put it like this. Lint decol is this. So what does it mean? Like lint decol colon type? It's just like, it's like, you know, it's just like one layer above, because if we say that, so we can say like noun is type of noun is type, and then we define noun as something, and then we can say also cat n is a noun, and then we define the cat as something. So this is like, if we have a colon, it just tells us what kind of thing it is, and if we have this equal sign, then it tells us like what is the value of it. So, sorry for the digression. So we say this, and then we're going to make the helper function. Decol CL, which is from lin decol to CL. Yeah, let's, now that we've used this, let's replace it here. Decol CLD equals the thing we just wrote here twice. So let's, before we need to write it the 3rd time, let's just make an opera out of it. CLD. And then we can call it again here. So this is a bit cleaner. Yeah, often when you need to, you know that you're going to have to refactor things, like it's a good idea to make a helper type and a helper function, like, and they are both under opera. And then you can use those operas in linkets and lins. Okay. So let's just check that things still work. Nothing has changed here because the functions D to Q and Q to P are still using, like they're used, they in those, we're converting this discontinuous Lindeckle into an actual CL. So now let's do the new thing. Did we make one? Yes, no, now we make it. So D to C, equal to command. This is the easy version where we ignore the subject and it's always just you do it. Need to see D. So we remembered we have a pred which is of type VP. So now we can make it into, now we can use this command mkimp. So mkimp d dot pred. Something's wrong. Oh yeah, because we didn't give it a link at. So look, we have the new things here. Purchase food, purchase food, purchase food, purchase food. Like, it's so many different things because now this is completely ignoring the subject. Okay. So I was going to copy this over to German, but now I'm getting kind of annoyed. Like, why do we need to do this over again? So let's introduce, how can we avoid this copying over and over again? I'm going to make it into a parameterized module. So I'm going to commit these now at this stage. And then the next stage is going to be the parameterized module to avoid code duplication. And then depending on how much time we have left, we can do this let us blah, or we can do the WordNet. So I think if we have only little time, I prefer to show the WordNet, but let's see where we get there. Any questions at this point? Specifically questions on what we have seen and not questions on what will come. So actually, let me make this in two different files. So like this one that is like copy paste and parameter. Let's copy paste. Okay, I'm gonna move the current ones to the one with this a lot of copy paste directory. And actually, okay, while we're there, let me just make this like, let's make this work for German as well. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna copy over everything except just everything here. Linkets and syntactic functions. This. Oh, there's no linearization of food in here. Let's make that. Oh, what's food in German? What is food in German? Oh yeah. Right. It's like capital. We were not quite. I wanted to show you like one thing that we can do in German that we can do with this this imperative, because we do have this imperative form with this like plural polite singular, and that is in it's not here, but it's oh yeah, I can also use priority. Yeah, so it's in this stage when we're making it into an utterance. So I can make it say like, do you have polite and like normal, like is it different, like you say like be quiet if you're talking to your boss or to your child or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
yeah, so it's different. So for example, be quiet if you say du to person, so the non-polite form is sei ruhig, and the polite form is seien Sie ruhig. Yeah, so and then you really have the pronoun, so you keep the pronoun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see if the Reese's Crown library does that, because I think the default is just the implied. So let's first do mkip. That is called inform. Let's check what the polite does. If it even does the right thing.
Yeah, so it's breaking down for kaufen.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So this is now, so now this is kind of like, it's using the polite everywhere because I just put it directly there. But what we could do is that if we want to do the thing where we treat the subject as an addressee, so like you kommen Sie, if it's like polite, you like Sie kommen Sie, du kommst, komm, what did you say? Sorry, like komm, yeah, just komm. So we can do that. Yeah, actually, let's do that before because when we'll I'm gonna put both of these versions online. So this is the one with this is like now German specific, because in English it's just gonna say come and eat food for all of them. So actually, yeah, this kaufen Sie essen, that's both imperative and question, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So only that.
So what are we seeing there? Is that the question? So,
oh yeah, we can. Yeah, we know it's a question because we can look at the tree. So here is like kaufst du essen ? Question mark, and this is like purchase food ? Exclamation mark, kaufen Sie essen. So we can, but we can make it now. When we make these, we can let's turn these into. We'll turn these subjects into addresses by. We need to add something to the linkat. So now I'm doing this only in German because it makes difference only in German. So let's call it S, which is an MP, and then imp form, which is I'm only calling it like I'm calling it like this because that's the only, I know that in this particular grammar, that's the only place where it makes difference. And now, anywhere I'm using actor, I need to use the S field to make the thing. And then, yeah, I do need to Yeah, I do need to actually, I don't know, that's actually fine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna change the linket here. I'm gonna make the command into utterance because that's the place where we change, like where we apply the inform. So what I'm gonna do is mk. Okay, we need one more thing, but okay, let's see what error we get. So mk at question mark. This part is still the same because we still make the core imperative is just the verb phrase, but we need the politeness, like inform here now. Now we need to change a couple of more things too, which is actor. The decal needs also the inform. We make it becomes first a decal, and then it becomes a command. We might actually, we also noticed that actually these are just the same. So let's do this a bit even more. Like let's make it a bit clear that that's what's going to happen here. So again, I'm gonna call this lin actor type, and then the definition is this. And here I will, it's lin actor. And now lin decal. So these two fields are, oh, okay, actually I call it subj. I might also call this subj if I wanted to, because that's, yeah, let's do this so we're consistent. And now that we notice that these two fields are shared, we can do this to make it clear that they are shared. Lin decal equals lin actor star thread, which is BB. So this means like use all the fields from lin actor, and in addition the spread field. So this makes it easier. Just put it there.
Like just now when we say in the offer, we define the type for the different functions, the different helper. So, but we choose the word. I mean, we could have chosen another word other than type. But is it because we choose type because they are of record form? Or?
The question was like, do we choose the word type because this is the record?
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah, I think like, I mean, we choose the word type because we want to be able to later on do something like foo : lin actor. It's like whenever something like it's like in any other program language. Also, like we say like int is type, and then like free value of type int. So then like this is like what we would in GF we just say like int : type and free : int. That's what this type means here. Yeah, I mean, like we it doesn't need to be. It's not because it's a record. Like we might as well say that.
Where is the reserved word?
I mean, yeah, type is a reserved word. Like you can't say, yeah, you can't say like upper type blah blah blah. Like, yeah, we could also like it can also just be an alias. Like we might as well say that like my lincat type and my lincat is a string. Like this is also valid. Like it doesn't have to be a record. It's just we when we say something's a type, then we allow some other foo to be a type. Okay, so that was the question from class. So we were here making the actor and decal more clearly related, because we need to propagate the imperative form all the way from the actor to the command. Okay, so this doesn't change. For the clause, we're just using the subject and predicate. The subject was here and the predicate came from here. But now we have this decal. Decal has the imp form like this. So now we can do d dot imp form, and we give it to that's the command. And now we just need to update just the name, because that was. Oh yeah, so this is actually, now we would need to do inform equals actor dot inform. Now we see that, okay, this is a lot of copy paste. Well, actually, we are still in the we're in the directory a lot of copy paste, so we can just keep this. Like, I'm just like going ahead of myself, like. But okay, in the directory less copy paste. Let's do this a bit less copy paste away. Okay, and finally, I have to change these things here. So the imp form is, what do we call it? Yeah, it's just the single line form. Like, this is a bit unsatisfactory, because I mean the RGL does provide a way to say let us buy food, may they, he, whatever, who buy food, but it's not in category imp. So that's why I'm doing things like this. Let's just make these sub equals blah, imp form equals and this is singular, this is plural, and this is polite. So now we're done with this. Take some time for it to compile. But yeah, this is like, if GF takes a long time to compile, but when it's compiled and you just open it, then it's much faster. So if you use something in a Python or something. So. Okay, so does it do? Okay, so with this, it's kind of, that's the I. But okay, here we have U plural, kauft essen, kommt. And now we have the polite, kaufen Sie essen, kommen Sie. And then we have the singular U, kaufen essen, kommen. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this, I think, yeah, this concludes the grammar here in this lot of copy paste file. I'll commit it now, and if you have any questions about what you've seen, ask on Discord, anything. I'll just commit now, but like I'll answer. You can digest the information that you just received.
So I'm still wondering what we have programmed right now and what is contained in the more general resource libraries. So did we program the way the polite imperative form is constructed? Because I do not quite see where we did it.
Oh,
So where we kept the subject, for example, or the actor in the imperative form.
so okay, so yeah.
Contrary to English. So in English, you omit the actor in the imperative form. You say buy food. In German, you keep it. You say kaufen Sie Essen.
Yeah, so that's
So where does that difference show up?
So question is, where does the difference show up when in the German concrete syntax we have all this complicated thing where we retain the subject and imp form from the beginning, whereas in English the linked of actor is just MP and Lindeckol is just this. It's discontinuous, but it's just this and nothing more. And so so I can start by explaining what we definitely did not implement. We got from the Research Ground Library the fact that in the impolite imperative, let me just generate only the imperatives to make it a bit clear. GT cat. So what comes from the Research Ground Library is the fact that the polite form maps to this string, the plural form maps to this string, like kauft, this string and this word order, like this decision that we include the pronoun here, but we don't include it here. We have this verb form here and this verb form here. All that comes from the Research Ground Library. But like, so if we compare the concrete syntaxes in English and German, the deculture command is here in English. We're calling mkimp in D to C. And then this is the command to phrase. We're calling mkphr. Whereas this, like, so actually, like the linkets are different here. It's in, like, first of all, in German, we have the linket of command is in fact ot, and in English is imp. And this is like completely fine. Actually, we're going to unify these now. It's like what happens is like imp is still open for many things. Like anything that is like down below in the hierarchy has more decisions open. But ot has chosen the imp form. So this is the instance that we used. It takes like just an imperative has all of these possibilities. Like it may become kaufen Sie Essen, kauft Essen, kaufe Essen, kauft nicht Essen. Is that so? Kauft kein Essen, maybe. Yeah. And then, but when it becomes utterance and it gets these parameters, like these arguments, it loses its freedom to become anything it wants, and it is fixed that, okay, this is actually just yeah, so like seid nicht Männer. I don't know if it should be seid keiner or whatever, but so in German this step from imp to ot actually makes a difference, but in English it doesn't make a difference. So that's why I was lazy and I didn't put it. Like in English we could, like we didn't put it explicitly because the functions are overloaded, but we could have done it here. mk ot singular imp form. Like this is like how now we see that we call this, we use the singular inform explicitly. Yeah.
So in principle, one could have so injected the English phrase into naturans or made naturans out of it, and so it would have been completely parallel to the German development.
Yeah, exactly. We could have as well had the German concrete syntax for the English. We made the English first, and then we realized that, like, oh, in German, we started by copy paste. We realized that, oh, actually we need more distinctions, and then we revised the link as necessary. That's what we did.
So yeah, maybe we can go back to the tree, the tree of the syntactic categories.
This one.
So yeah, exactly. So you construct an S. Is that right? You turn it into naturals. So you walk up the this hierarchy, and then you project it down to an imp, for example.
Yeah, so like the imp comes from VP directly, and then the MP, like, I mean, I have a custom category, like my category, my linkat for decol has actually, it has all these fields. It has a subject. It has it's an NP, a VP, and an imp form. Like, so in the resource kernel library, like this NP and the imp form, like they are not connected. Like they are just, like they are two completely different categories. But I wanted to make them, I put them in one linkat because that made a difference in my application grammar. That was my decision. Like that didn't come, like resource kernel library gives me both of these categories, and I, as an application programmer, decided that I want to use both of them. Questions? Okay, so how about I will show you the less copy paste way, and then we have a break, and then we'll talk about WordNet. That's the rest of this morning or evening, wherever you're watching this. We're going to have next week, Krasimir will give us more talks about the WordNet and how it's made, and like more in depth. So that was a lot of copy paste. Now I'm going to less copy paste. Oh yeah, I might actually to honor the spirit of less copy paste, I'm going to introduce you to paths in GF. So I'm not going to copy the abstract syntax because it's already in the other directory. Let's see how it's done. RTL tutorial. here. Yeah. So I never remember this. I just like, that's why I write this blog post and whatever. So if you want to refer to files in other directories, so in the GF file, you need a file path. I think the VS Code plugin should do this automatically. So let's make a new thing. So this is like, before I make any actual language, I'm going to make something called incomplete concrete. So construction I.gf. This is a convention. Like whenever you see a grammar with this letter I, that means it's incomplete concrete, and that's the way to not have so much copy paste. So now I'm going to add the path, which is ... for the previous directory, and then lot of copy paste. Okay, I think it's probably an error because I didn't have any yet. So incomplete concrete construction I construction. I think this should work. GF. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, now the error disappeared. So now let's compare it to the construction eng. This is concrete blah blah with open blah blah. But now I'm going to instead say open syntax instead of syntax eng. And then later on, when we use some actual languages, we instantiate them, saying like, oh, by the way, syntax in this context takes syntax eng. Oh, by the way, syntax in this context takes syntax char. But paradigms is not one of the modules that you can just say open paradigms, because that's different for all languages. So we go back here, like we look at all this. Like if you notice, like, okay, you can click on N, but it just says, oh, lexical category, given in constructors, given in lexical paradigms. So if we look at MKN for Afrikaans, that's different. Like for instance, this MKN takes a string, a gender, and written as a noun. If we go to English, MKN, no gender. Okay, oh, well, okay. Technically there is a gender here, but it's human, non-human instead of feminine, masculine, or neuter, stuff like that. So it's different. But like if we go to something like Finnish, MKN, no gender, but you have something that takes 10 forms because we have a lot of cases. So paradigms is not reliable. Paradigms is not possible to abstract because they are different for everything, but syntax is the same for everything. And then we can also make our, let's ignore the lexicon for now because I'm gonna introduce WordNet. So I'll just show you how to do it later. So we don't need to do all of the parts, because we can put the lexicon in a different file, and then later on I'll show you how to even put lexicon in this file. So let's copy paste all of the syntactic functions, and now I'm going to copy paste the German. So everything up to here in construction I. So yeah, I said that like we might as well do it in the way we did in German for English. So now we're actually gonna do it. And I promise that this is the less copy pasty thingy. So I'm going to now show you how to make these two lines disappear, because we remember that the actor and decal are actually very much the same. Decal is exactly the same fields as actor plus one more field. And we do it by this syntax record extension. So then what we can do, we can extend records when we make types, so we can also extend values. So we do actor star star. And then these two fields that have the same name and the same value, we can just remove because it's done here. We take the actor as it was, and then we add this thing. We compile this. We can, but I mean, in this like this is like completely. This is incomplete, as the name suggests. Like we couldn't do anything. Like we couldn't generate. Oh, actually, I mean, yeah, we can generate a tree, but there is nothing we can linearize because it's not instantiated. It's just saying that open the syntax module, but which syntax? Don't know. These categories exist in all of the syntaxes. These values exist in all of them. And then we just, these field names are something we made up ourselves. So they don't, like the names of this field, like subthread, they don't come from the histogram library, but their values come from there. So we can use it. And now I'm gonna, look what's left. We have abstracted away this part. So now we make the concrete syntaxes. So instruction and to GF. And now we write concrete construction eng of construction. If you want to, let me show you where to see documentation for this. So like it goes with fast. So tutorial. Incomplete. And here. Where do you see the how to do it? Yeah, here. This is how you do it. So the incomplete module with syntax equals blah blah. And then we can also open like this. So this is construction I with syntax equals syntax eng. And then we put this, so it's is this correct now? And it compiles, but oh. Oh, oh, that's funny. The name happens to be like, oh, there is an RGM module called construction. So maybe that was a bit unfortunate name of this file, but I'll rename all the files so no one gets confused. I think this should still work. So we had here, when we, like this is an example, like we can still define things that are outside this. So now let's open syntax eng, paradigms eng in. Annotate this a bit. So this is the inherited part instantiated with syntax eng. Open modules for defining things outside the inherited part. So we don't need to, let's open these side by side. We got a lot of stuff for free here. We got all the linkets and these syntactic functions. So we only need to do the lexical functions. Then actually we can copy paste them from the previous. Only syntax, only lexical functions need to be done here. So this is the file less copy paste. This is not least copy paste. So yeah. We can also open lexicon. Yeah, this doesn't work anymore. So let's copy these instead from the German. Oh, actually. Oh, this is actually, no, we can totally put these in the shared because all of them come from the RGL. So that's perfect. That's actually perfect. Let's put these in here. Lexical functions for those that come from the shared RGL. Like these are just pronouns, so these are pronouns and informs, so they are shared. That's perfect. This is already quite a little copy paste. So we only have the actions and objects. Oh, what's missing? What's wrong? Yeah, I think I have to put the path here also, because this tells me that it's interpreting this as the RGL module construction. So okay. Yeah, now it's doing the trees that we wanted. You purchase food. Let's do PT again. So these are now, this is exactly what we had. It's just restructured in 2 modules. So what do we have? We have the construction I, incomplete concrete. Then we have construction eng. Let's do German again. Let's do Chinese, because this is not cheap. Just help me, maybe you can type in the chat Chinese words, I put them here. Let's do, what else? Well, let's do Hindi. I have no idea how it works, but we'll see. So this makes things a lot more easier now. So for German, we had already the come and buy and eat. So I will just copy and paste those parts. I think the buy is already in the lexicon. Let's check that down. Construction and construction work as they Just do. Okay, yeah, I think actually food is the only one we need for Chinese. Now just think of it, because I think buy is already there. I just made it purchase to demonstrate. So yeah, this is as it was. No, I think com is also in lexicon. So I'm actually going to do CP construction here into construction chai. Food. Like it's usually a pretty safe bet that the word like the one argument constructor for MKN, MKB, MKA is there. Like depending on language, it's maybe not super reliable, but like for many languages, like this should still exist because it's very convenient. You can always get like the first thing. Now, all we did for Chinese was copy and paste, search and replace the word chai with chai, and then add this one word. So does this look legit? Quite legit. Okay. That's good. Yeah.
So after all, I couldn't quite see where to specify which kind of sentence we want to generate.
So the question was, where do we specify which kind of sentence we want to generate? Like, I mean, in the concrete syntax or in the command line?
Maybe it's in the command line.
Oh, right. In the command line, we say GT, which means generate trees. So it generates all the trees. Like it generates all the trees in the start category. So the start category is phrase, and then we have these 3 coercion functions that make commands in the phrase, declarations, and questions in the phrase.
Okay. Sorry, where do we specify that the start category is phrase? So where is that?
It's in the abstract syntax. So that's in the lot of copy paste file. We have the. It's right here on line 2.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, if you only want to create commands, then we can always give it the flag category is command, and then we just linearize these. Yeah, I see that Chinese has also just the same for all of these imperatives. Yeah, okay, that's good. Let's take another language. Let's take the Hindi. Like I have no clue what is to eat, but let's just we can fill in the rest. So CP construction and
Because normally imperative for Chinese would be for, right? But then that's because we will say come over rather than come.
we can. So this is like the weakness in our approach, because like I want to do Hindi and I have no clue what's food in Hindi. So that's gonna be definitely wrong here, but I'm just interested in seeing like if the difference is there. Oh, I see. I think these are the Unicode combining characters. So that's not super good output. Okay, it looks like it's the same. Like it's the font is all wrong. Like it's strange. Okay. I think that these circles are not supposed to be there. Like we have the syllable mark and then the combining like vowel. So that's looks wrong here. Okay, let's take the break that I promised, and then we'll finally get to the least copy paste, where we use WordNet to like get past the problem that I don't know what food is in Hindi.
Let me try.
Let's resume in this chat. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, how much you want?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. Resume 11:15. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Mang. Okay. Well, okay, we actually didn't have all that much audience online, but like, let me repeat what I just said. We can just clip away this part in the in the video that we put on YouTube. So if I'm sharing my screen, I can't see your video. So if you want to say something, like, speak up. Thanks for. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, what we did here, we managed to put this, we managed to reuse this much. So it was the linkets, the syntactic functions, and the lexical functions that come from a closed class. And what we copied and pasted was this come and buy and food. And now that we want to, our goal for this, the rest of this talk is to even like get rid of even those. So for those of you who don't know, what is WordNet? It's so it's a lexical database that is actually older than GF. It used to be only for English, and then it's been translated into multiple languages. So yeah, nouns, verb, adjectives, adverbs are grouped into a set of synsets, synonyms. So this is like completely different approach that a morphological lexicon would do. Like in WordNet, actually, let me show you the command line program. WordNet. Let's look at the word table. Let's look overview. So we have, first of all, like one word can have different senses. Like a table is a noun, it can have 6 senses, and it can also be a verb with 2 senses. And these, all of these, the set postpone, hold over, shelve, put off, is a synset that has the meaning hold back to a later time. And then we have a gloss. This is called a WordNet gloss. Let's postpone the exam. It shows you like how to use that in some sentence. And like, so the idea of the WordNet, like the original WordNet, is that these words are synonyms. Like, but like in abstract sense, sure, like you can explain them, like you can define them probably using a pretty similar thing, but are there synonyms in the sense that maybe you would use them exactly interchangeably? Like if we look at the word like big, so we have a synonym large and big, but like probably if you look at any corpus, you would tend to find like the words that would appear on the left and right hand side of large would be a bit different from the context where big appears. But then like, so this is like, it's 2 dimensions, like one there is one sense, and then there's all the words that mean the same sense. And one word can have different senses, and one sense can have different words. So this is the original WordNet. And what we have in GF is a bit different. We have, actually, let's look at this. Large. We have the glosses. If we look at how this looks, Like, yeah, you recognize this is the WordNet gloss. It's here, it's here. And now we also have the numbers. So in the GF lexicon, they have this identifier large _1_a. But so what's a difference is that in WordNet, the large one and big one, they are under the same synset. But in GF, we have the large one and big one. They are different lexical entities. So we can't do, like you wouldn't do in the GF WordNet lexicon that if you parse either big or large, they would map to the same GF function. Like there are different GF functions. It's not free variation there. It's completely deterministic. Which one do you choose? Yeah, this even gives you some. This is the web user interface. It gives you even some useful info like synonyms, antonyms, and derived in different. Like this is an adjective, and then it's the derived forms are. This is a noun, largeness. So like. Yeah, we can do the other example. But you also get some frequency information here. So this is the web interface. Like how we're going to use this in our grammar is just like any other GF grammar. So these are normal GF files, and they are completely compatible with the abstract syntax. So with the resource grammar library abstract syntax. So if we want to, assuming that we have all that set up, so if you want to clone it in your own computer, you clone this, you git clone blah blah blah. I have it already, so I just go to GF WordNet. I have these files here. Let me actually pull the latest. Oh yeah, this updates often, so this is a work in progress. So this updates often, so it's a good idea to keep it up to date. And I have the compiled files. So if you have the resource grammar library installed, there is something called the gflib path, which is the place where these are installed. So like, please let me know if you need help with setting all these things up, because you clone this and you install it by following the instructions. And it explains to you what these paths are. So if we assume that you have the GF RGL properly installed, and you have your invariant variable gflib path set up, then what you do, you go to GF WordNet. Now it's updated. So there are so many languages that you can do make, and then it does a bunch of things. But what I would just do is that I would do GFO. Let's get GF help to see what the actual command is. Output dir. Yes, that's what I want as a flag. GF output dir equals gflib, and then I'm going to do WordNet eng, WordNet char, WordNet. What do we have? Yeah, we have Chinese, so let's do Chinese. Yeah, we don't have. Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of languages, so let's do with those three. So now it's compiling these instead of like all the very many languages, which are big lexica. So I'm doing this because it's faster. then there is an actual make file. You can follow the instructions. So I have these actually already compiled, so I don't need to wait for it to do it. So I can just go back here. But if you're following along, you can just wait for it to compile, and then you'll have it in your chapter path. I can actually copy that. Do we have people following actually? Okay. So now I'm going to make the final directory, which is called least copy paste. So I will, well, I'm going to do things a bit differently from the previous. So I'm going to copy over some of these. So I'm going to copy over the construction incomplete complete. Paste. Right. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a separate lexicon file. Actually, oh. Okay, sorry, that's maybe okay. Let's not get too complicated. Let's I'll revert that decision. Let's so now I'm actually gonna change the names of these two. So like this is the because construction is also a name of the, it's a module in the resource grant library. So just to make this less confusing. So okay, so now in the abstract syntax, I'm gonna add the lexicon. No question?
I think the concrete part of the name cons SI. At the top there should we have con SI or cons or
Oh yeah, thanks. Yes, exactly. That's right. Thanks. I just changed the name to something random. And now I'm gonna add a whole bunch of more lexicon. So let's say, what do we want to, who could be a good subject, like teacher, customer, doctor, any kind of any kinds of, let's add just a lot of nouns, a lot of verbs, a lot of stuff. So actors and actions. So maybe they sleep, they walk.
construct.
Yeah. Construct. But yeah, pay is a like, let's say maybe pay for something is like the, oh yeah, play, maybe that's what you said, sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we can say they pay for something. They can wait for something. Who knows? And let's say not just food, but we can have like flowers. Building, yeah.
Toilet room.
Toilet, yeah, perfect. Okay, so we have a lot of words now. And now what we can do when we open syntax, then we can say open WordNet as well. And now now we can just do all that stuff here. Lexicon function from WordNet. So have teacher. So these are still NPs, but that's fine. Like we just basically we prefix it all with MK NP and then something like teacher underscore 5, whatever. These are all intransitives. Well, let's fill this in later. Let's do this first. So, okay, so now the awkward part here is to like check which one is which of the abstract, which of the senses we choose. I believe that Krasimir will show you a demo with like possibly a better workflow for this next Monday. I'm just going to do it like this sort of old-fashioned way. I think like Krasimir actually has some kind of custom plugin for Emacs that he doesn't need to go to a web browser to say like, okay, which sense of worker do we have several? Okay, person who works in a specific occupation, worker 1. This is often a good heuristic that usually if it's a sense that is like extremely common, just choose the first one. Like, okay, here. Number 3 for worker, it's sterile member of a colony of social insects that forages for food and cares for the larvae. So like, that would be kind of funny to try to say that like the construction worker does something and then in another language it's actually a different word for the insect. So okay, I'm guessing that the officer is also just officer 1. Yeah, it is a bit unclear, like in the armed services, like maybe we can do officer 2 instead, because like appointed or elected to an office. This is actually even interesting. Is this is synonym. Yeah, so it's all officer here, but like let's do officer 2 just to make good variety. Doctor, I'm just okay. This is like, is Dr. 1 the medical doctor? I would believe so. Yeah, a licensed medical practitioner. If you're getting bored with them, getting the numbers from the web user interface, if you have WordNet program installed, you can also just do WN Dr. And then yes, number 1, a licensed medical practitioner. So yeah, let's do next customer also with this. Oh, there's only 1. That's great. Yeah, okay, if there's only 1, like what's the naming scheme? Customer. Oh, so here we have some, this is the difference, like this is not something that exists in the WordNet, but in GF lexicon, some words have feminine and masculine. Like for instance, it's the same in English, but for Bulgarian, we have this ends in an A here, and this doesn't end in that. So here is the difference. You see, it's a different string. Okay, let's take the word client instead, just because we don't want to choose. A person who seeks the advice of a lawyer. Oh, yeah, let's say client too. So, yeah, and teacher. Oh, so this might also be if is there like a masculine feminine difference? Yeah, and then there is like this might be this actually maps to the masculine one, so it's let's take a female teacher just to yeah, you might, if this makes a difference in your application, then you have two options. You can use free variation in your application. So now if you pause, you accept both. If you linearize, I think it does it linearizes in the one that you had first. Okay. Yeah. And then you have like these verbs sometimes have like very many sentences. So it's like, yeah, I think this has come too. So. Let's fill in the rest later. So I'm dying of boredom here. And now, so once I should compile, there we can't. Well, we can generate something, but we can't linearize it because there is nothing concrete. So what we do now, we create the English one. So and now, so this is what I promised to be least copy paste. So we don't even need this path anymore because we have a new abstract syntax. So we remove, it's no longer incomplete. Cons eng of cons equals cons I width. So we opened two modules, so it is, we say syntax equals syntax eng WordNet equals WordNet eng. In now, if we don't have anything to do, anything to add, then we can just remove this in blah. Oh, what are we having error? Oh yeah. Yeah. We're having the error because I forgot that in here our actor is actually not just it is not just a simple noun phrase. So what I'm going to do is that I just wrote like mknp to all of these parts here. But what I need to do is that I'm gonna make another constructor. So some here. Instead, I will say mk actor, which is noun to main actor. And so the main actor is this record with a subject and an inform. So I'm saying that subj is, it takes an n as an argument. Subj is mknpn and imp form is singular inform. If we want to override this in some languages, then we would need to then when we make this, we need to then we need to do something else here. Like, let's change that. But in English, this is pretty fine. And also like to consider that like these pretty much make a difference in the pronouns, but these are all third person. Like these are not pronouns, these are nouns. So I'm gonna replace all of these MK entries with MK actor. Now we're gonna do thing. Yep, okay. Oh. Okay. So we have a bit of issues here, like, oh, maybe we want to use some definite article or something. So then we, like, you know, I mean, this is like very, this application is not like a real application. It's just something I show to demonstrate how to use a resource current library. So it doesn't make a huge difference. I don't need to think about the semantics. But if I want to change all, I can put definite article here. And now it says, does the client, does the doctor, and so on. Let's add some more verbs just to, I'm just boldly assuming that it's the first sleep. Walk. In real application, you kind of have to be more careful because you might have to like, yeah. Yeah, do you sleep, do you walk? Does the officer sleep? Does the teacher walk? So how about we make this for some, now we can, this is the least copy paste. So we have this, which could be just one line basically. Let's make this for other languages. CP. Try. Replace the language there. Replace the language type. Just do this const star. Oh, that's strange. It's my WordNet German then. WordNet 34. Server. Oh. And this might take a bit long time again, because like the files are very big. But... okay. Okay, so this work. So now we have some more lexicon. So like this is pretty probable that some of these are wrong, or maybe like, okay, these are pretty common words, but let's see, what did we have? Okay, we have the teacher. Let's see. I'm kind of curious about them. So with the teacher, like we had here in here we had the free variation, feminine or masculine. I'm kind of curious because German should have a difference in that. Yeah. Let's look at the sentences with the teacher a bit closer. No, it's still just der Lehrer, or like.
That is okay, but the word of come sounds a little bit funny.
Okay.
Einlaufen is something that you use for a ship. Right.
Okay, so that's a good example actually. Like when I was just filling this in, I was like, oh, let's just put one of these, like random. So let's choose German here. What would be a good translation for that? Yeah, just common. Yeah, exactly. That's so like we were doing much better when we were just using the GF lexicon. So yeah, this is like come forth, like too common. I don't know. Or is no? I think it's just is this too just the infinitive? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So we can take any of these. So.
I just wanna einlaufen. Ja, einzulaufen, einlaufen ist das Wort.
Oh yeah, that's
the semantics is reach a destination, right?
Oh yeah,
progress. Yeah, and typically use it for ships that are port.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, yeah, let's take just we can take some clues from the frequency. So yeah, that was kind of expected that like come one would be the most useful. Now that I noticed that this is pretty slow, so I can do GF make so then I'll make it into a PGF, and then it's gonna take some time to compile, but then it doesn't hang so much. I can in the terminal. Now I changed that. Yeah, the compilation may take time, but then once it's compiled, running, it's not as slow. Usually. Yeah, now we have the comment. Oh yeah, and for the Chinese, like it apparently this verb is not in the Chinese WordNet. If we can look here. Yeah, we see it's not there. So it happened to be only the two, which was to arrive. It's here. Yeah, it's funny. Like we have the word for arrive, but we don't have the word to come. So like that's
Yeah, and it's actually a simpler word.
yeah. I mean, these are I'm sure Krasimir can tell you like what sources they come from. Like they're extracted from several dictionaries, and so this is actually a good example for like how machine learning and rule-based stuff work together, because there's definitely a lot of like
Actually, it has taken, in this case, right, for the Chinese one, it has taken the formal one. For example, the word that we see here is the one that will commonly read in the newspaper, like the minister has come. So, you know, like that sort of thing. Yeah. Rather than what we use in our everyday language, like come here, come, let's go.
Yeah. So then like whenever you see errors, like when we go to this web interface, you actually see that you see a red line in a lot of them. So it means that it's unverified. So you can log in. I've already logged in before, so it knows my account. But if you do it for the first time, so let's do the come again with German. Yeah, I think you can also actually you can search in German. So if I search to one, and then sorry to. I don't even know if I have to write that to if I just write comment. Yeah, I went like in the search interface, like if I, what happens if I, yep. So, okay, so these have actually been verified by someone. But then we had just this simple word come_1. So I'm gonna click this and I'm gonna press this button, okay. And if we see that something is wrong somewhere, I don't know, make it, is that, like suppose that, okay, we said that, okay, this is not a good translation, then we would click this button. And we see that, okay, this is how it's defined. We can evaluate it, see what's a bit, I think it's a bit sad about, there are some, this column is so wide. But yeah, I would like, I would, yeah, I would be able to look at the inflection table that is made by doing this. And then I could change something. Suppose like suppose one of these forms was wrong, like, well, like suppose this was the actual past tense, and then it's fixed in the table. I'm gonna cancel because I'm not gonna fix it like this.
But this is just the vocabulary that is extracted from WordNet and imported into GIF. So,
yes.
Okay.
And I mean, there is like, so what it's like, if we remember, the actual WordNet is actual WordNet has the design that a single word can have multiple senses. So like table can be any of the 6, but also one sense can have several words. So that's not a really, that's not a good design for a translation vocabulary. So that's why what Krasimir has done is to try to word align the single words in the synsets, so that we align word by word, not just synset by synset. And that's something where, like, because like from WordNet we get the equivalence between synsets, but we don't get between words. So that's what Casimir has done, and that's a step where there might be some errors. And of course, the original WordNets might also have some errors in them. So a lot of steps where errors can creep in.
But you said we'll have a more dedicated talk to about WordNet. So.
Yeah. So let's just yeah. I suspect that the single word for like the most common words, like the actual most common words, are already in the GF lexicon. So many people even don't need to import WordNet there. We can also do lexicon. It comes from just the GF lexicon, RGL, and we might as well just say this because that's where it comes from, and then we just put open. Only RGL words. Thing, so we get things working. As well. So now we have the word is there again.
The more common word.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's finish here. I'll clean up these files and I'll commit them, and they'll be in the repository. We can go for lunch.